Solar seems pretty pleased with the upgrade. I was impressed by how you handled that drake outside the Vale.
A little terrifying, I will admit.
But you kept a cool head and didn't let it get the better of you. Not everyone can do that.
So, how often do I need to return to camp? Do you need me to report back frequently?
That's entirely up to you. Points privilege. You're the one taking the risks, so you can gauge how far and how long you can push. From time to time, I or the folks around the camp might have requests, but we'll defer to your priorities. And if you get into trouble, I'll pull you to safety. Might lose some resources, but that's a small price to pay.
Got it. A lot of responsibility.
Points privilege.
Can I ask how you knew to pack up the camp outside the Vale?
The tangles were shifting. They'd been static the entire time. And then, suddenly, just as an arc deflects a wave of Drake's breath, they start to move. That's no coincidence.
How do you know to run to me, then?
The tangles closed down the path the caravan took in. And it wasn't like I was going to abandon you. you're coming up on the Ark of the Stricken Earth. With a stronger sword, hopefully the carapace will come off easy.
This might take a while.
You'll need to swing harder to cut through armor that thick.
What's happening?
Retrieving the carapace is going to be trickier than we thought.
Is she really ready to fight that thing?
Catch your breath. When you're ready, you can climb the Ark to attack it from different angles. Exposed skin, everything you've got. Through that patch of skin anymore. Move on.
I was worried we might lose our chance to get the carapace, but you secured it.
Any concerns about using the Archon strand, Dom?
Concerns? None. Excitement? Considerable. We should be able to weave that strand into your mantle, Brynn.
Perfect.
You think this patch will fix the leaking pipe?
Yes. And with the debris cleared, why don't you tell Aria we've got everything we need to fix the loom gate?
Me?
Acting or otherwise, major communication should come from the point.
I'll keep that in mind.
Not too heavy, not too light.
The patch is ready, and I've cleared the debris at the loom gate in Glintwood Hollow.
Excellent work, Brynn. Time for you to take a well-earned rest while the band heads into the Hollow.
You sure you don't need me to come?
We've got this. And you need the break.
All right, if you say so.
Sola seems pretty pleased with the upgrades to her forge. I think she might want to thank you, Brynn.
I believe I was promised one epic tale on how you discovered the route into the Veiled Shadow.
I suppose I did promise you. Rumors of a safe passage into the shadow had been swirling among Weaver circles for the last 5 years. They'd always piqued my interest, but I couldn't get a solid lead on it until 2 years ago. Weavers in a caravan bound for Don Brennig told me they no longer had a point. They'd lost an older Casil fellow who journeyed on the Strand Road before the Surge. He insisted on one last big expedition before his retirement. Into the Veil's shadow. It killed him, but they got pretty close.
So you got the route from that caravan?
Not quite. The point that died was the one who led them in. He had the trade roads memorized. But it was confirmation that getting close to the Veil was possible. I spent the next few months chasing leads. Eventually, I was able to trade an Ash Peak Drake's Tooth for a map of the trade roads with a dubious Ashar woman in Tartha.
A drake's tooth?
Some people believe grinding the tooth of a drake into a powder and consuming it could have stimulating properties.
Ah.
Fools. Regardless, between the map and the other leads, I was able to plan the route that led us to the Veil's shadow a fortnight ago. The final missing piece was an apprentice point to take on the expedition with me.
Glad I could help. Thanks for sharing, Aurea.
What's a good adventure if you can't regale someone with the tale later?
You know, when talking to Lane, they mentioned that you actually trained to become point yourself. Lane said the training was going well, and then one day, it just stopped. Can I ask why?
Honestly, it was just too much for me. The responsibility that comes with being point. I guess I caved under pressure. Leaping headfirst into danger isn't for everyone. What made you decide to become a point?
Neither of my parents were weavers, but my dad would tell me stories about the Enclave as a child.
You became a point because of a bedtime story.
What can I say? Magic gripped me at a young age and never let go. Now that I'm a point, the possibilities are endless.
And has being point given you what you're looking for?
So far, yeah.
Good. For a long time, I felt like I let Aurea down. She wanted me to continue with the training, but I just couldn't. When she offered to keep me on as a quartermaster, I was surprised. In time, it made sense, though. I always enjoyed the planning of my expeditions, more than the expeditions themselves.
So you've been happier as a quartermaster?
Yes. This is much more my speed. Besides, someone needs to hang out with Arva. Seriously. I'm more than happy to leave the creature wrangling to you.
I'm not sure I have what it takes to pack a caravan anyway.
I've seen how messy your tent is. You most definitely do not.
How's it going?
Brynn, you're awake. We're making progress over here. Careful with that.
Hey, no one came back to camp, did they? Is the rest of the band still with you?
We're all here. And the leak is just about fixed.
Hey, wait, I just want to talk. That was incredible.
Hey, couldn't have done it without you.
Actually, we couldn't have done it without Sev. I didn't expect you to have such a deft hand with magical conduits.
I'm not... I mean... We just got lucky at Hurl's.
Not to distract from the victory, but something happened while you were gone. I saw something. Well, someone.
A Hearthsider?
Maybe. The figure was masked and standing at the edge of the camp. I think they were watching me. Before they disappeared.
How friendly.
If there are people still left in the Enclave, we need to find them. They can tell us what happened here.
Yes. I was just thinking we should chase down the scary masked figure that likes to watch Brynn sleep.
Since we arrived, we've been speculating about what may have happened after the surge. But no one here knows the truth. Only Hearthsiders could tell us that. I think the truth is worth the risk that they may be hostile.
You're right. We won't find answers standing here.
Friendly or hostile, if there are Hearthsiders, we need to find them.
Agreed.
And the good news is, fixing the Loom Gate didn't just give us easier access to Glintwood. It expanded our scry's reach.
So scries are somehow connected to the Enclave's tapestry.
Every scry was built here.
This means you not only have access to the Loom Gate, but you can safely explore further.
Incidentally, our maps indicate that there is a village beyond the hollow in a large swathe of wetlands known as Dredger's Mire.
Perhaps we'll find our Hearthsider there. Brynn, why don't you brief with Lane before your next expedition?
Sounds good.
After that, it's time to use the Loom Gate.
Why didn't you guys return using it yourselves?
We needed to take a key swatch back to camp in order to connect the two. We'll make sure you have a key swatch to connect any other loom gates to this one from now on.
Here to brief?
I like to know everything I can before venturing off to a new place.
Just beyond the forested hills of Glintwood Hollow lies the wetlands known as Dredger's Mire. Much like the Hollow, the Enclave prospected many of the raw materials needed for its ambitious constructs and projects from the mire. Oh, it's no coincidence you found the Ark of the Stricken Earth near a collapsed mine. Likely, it was used for the excavation of minerals and metals before the surge. I believe the natural surroundings of the mire were also rich in resources. The Enclave even settled a small village there known as Poldervale.
Which is where I might find that masked figure that was watching me.
It's possible. Regardless, do you have any questions before you head out?
Some of the others didn't seem so sure we should be trying to track down the masked figure. What do you think?
History demands we find them. If the masked figure truly is a Hearthsider, their stories and And what they've lived through in here would be invaluable to our understanding of the Enclave and of the Surge.
Sounds like I'd better find them then. Apart from the village, it sounds like this is mostly untamed lands. In the expectation that it will be more dangerous than the Hollow.
I would expect so, yes. We've made camp in a way station that's pretty far from Denevron, and the Maya yet even more remote. Everything I've read says the deeper into the outskirts of the Enclave one ventures, the more wild and untamed the lands become.
You're saying my battle with the Great Ark might be looking like child's play soon?
Possibly?
What can you tell me about Poldervale? It seems like it was settled pretty far from their capital.
Indeed. Though, when you take instantaneous travel through loom gates into account, what constitutes a remote village changes. The village was likely settled to facilitate the prospecting of raw materials in the outskirts. Resources farmed here could easily be transported across the Enclave through the use of loom gates.
Thanks for the info, Lane. I think I'm ready to head out.
My pleasure. Oh, wait, I almost forgot. I didn't have the biggest role to play in the loom gates repair. I'm not exactly handy with a hammer. But watching the band work gave me an idea for a new alchemical project. Its working name is a loom shard.
A loom shard?
Yes, it's a shard that could draw magic from a loom gate and bring you back to camp safely, wherever you are.
How is this different from Aurea pulling me back with the scry?
Unaided, Aurea can only summon enough magic to bring you back safely, not all the valuables you might have collected on your expedition. Because this shard draws magic from the tapestry, it can bring you back safely with all you've gathered.
Thanks, Lane.
Shouldn't we be trying to find a way out of here?
Focus on one thing at a time. That's all we can do.
Ready?
Let's do this.
First trip through the loom gate is a success.
Hopefully more trips to come. To new and exciting places.
Hold on, hold on.
The Sodden Pass. A fitting name for the road to the wetlands.
According to the maps, you're getting close to Dredge's Mire.
Designed for two, huh? Looks like it was being packed up to ship.
It'll be exciting to work off an Enclave design firsthand.
I know you're excited to explore, but first things first. Use our key swatch with a loom gate in the mire, so that it's easy to return.
Right. I'll check the maps.
Perfect. I can see the connection. We'll be able to come back whenever we'd like.
Without having to trek through all the mud.
The beauty of instantaneous travel. Key swatches are an ingenious system for connecting loom gates together.
This is Poldervale, but what happened? The village is completely frozen.
This can't be natural.
I think it's safe to say no one lives here. Where else could I look for a Hearthsider?
I can't quite remember why, but something tells me you should search for a watchtower. The maps indicate there may be some nearby.
That security would be active if the village was vacated.
Just trust me on this. I've got some cross-referencing to do.
All right, Brynn. You heard them.
Watchtower. Got it. Just like home. You're round a corner and a glacier's right there to greet you. Another drake.
This one doesn't seem as aggressive. Must not be rutting.
Should leave you alone unless you get close.
There's a watchtower ahead.
Found the tome I was looking for. It mentioned that key swatches were held by security in the Enclave's more remote villages. It ensured their loom gates could be reconnected to more central locations if needed. Perhaps our hardsider won't be in the watchtower, but a key swatch to Deneveran could be.
Genius, Lane. Nice work.
According to this logbook, all the key swatches were removed from the Poldervale Watch a few years after the surge.
Strange.
But there was one key swatch that was borrowed and never returned by the mayor at his residence in Poldervale.
Perhaps it's still there.
It'll be tough for me to withstand the cold long enough to search for it.
The rest of the band could help you navigate. Try discussing the challenge with a few of them next time you're at camp.
Sapper's Lake. The surrounding trees emitted an alchemical sap. It was a sought-after resource.
Solar, any thoughts on how I might go about withstanding cold temperatures while I search for the key swatch?
With the right materials, any design for armor could give you some resistance to frost magic and cold temperatures.
What kind of materials could I bring you?
A Kala hide would do the trick for one.
There are plenty of those prowling in the outskirts. Thanks for the insight.
My darling, I suspect the way the light filters through the Enclave's veil makes you look more luminous than ever.
Stop. It'll go to my head.
Should I come back later? I didn't mean to interrupt you two.
Sorry, Brynn. Sometimes we get lost in our little world.
But since you're here, I was actually hoping to speak with both you and Solar.
Oh?
I don't know if you know this, but my wife is an extremely talented smith who was apprenticed under a variety of world-class teachers.
Well, a revolving door of mentors doesn't exactly facilitate the most stable education, especially when one of them drops dead in front of you.
Oh, details. You've made more of your varied experience than most could glean from a lifetime. Anyway, I know you always hoped to further your education with the Tarmakine Smithing School's techniques. So, I asked Lane to look into whether or not any Tarmakine smithing was ever practiced here in the Enclave.
Oh, Darl. You shouldn't have. It's sweet, but there are other priorities.
What could be more pressing than helping my wife fulfill her lifelong dreams? As luck would have it, there were Tarmakine smiths here before the search.
Really?
Perhaps our daring point might be able to keep a lookout for anything those smiths might have left behind?
I mean, if it's too much trouble.
Of course. I'd be happy to help.
Perfect. I'll leave you to discuss the details.
Anything in particular I should look for?
The Tarmakine smithing techniques are exceptionally complex, and as such, pretty rare across the Maida. It might be too much to hope for anything close to a completed armor set, but prototypes or even notes pertaining to the style would be useful. I'd take anything you can find.
You might be in luck. I found a schematic. Is this what you're looking for?
Yes, this schematic is for a Tarmakine helm.
Could we forge a helm using the schematic?
Unfortunately, the schematic isn't finished. But sometimes smiths will create a prototype alongside their designs. If you found something like that, I might be able to forge the helm.
So, we're hunting a rogue key swatch in a frozen village. When dealing with temperature, your magic can directly counteract it.
I'm guessing we fight frost with flame?
Just so. Like building a fire on a cold night, except much faster. And the night has teeth and talons.
Unfortunately, I don't have a flame strand yet.
It's a tall order, but defeating a drake would allow us to weave a strand of its power.
Drakes and I are due for a reckoning anyway.
Spoken like a true point. Oh, it's very exciting to see one of the Enclave's enchanted weapon designs firsthand. I'm sure Sola will have a field day with it.
I don't need any particularly magical materials for it, I notice.
No, that's where I come in. I preserve numerous byproducts alongside each resonance as part of the weaving process. I have got, in the literal and figurative sense, your back. They are quite the thing, aren't they? Tangles, I mean.
After what it was like outside the Enclave, the ones in here are child's play.
It is an enduring mystery as to why the Veil's shadow is flooded with them. I did not expect that they would be so common inside the Enclave.
Are they common anywhere?
No. They were theoretical until the Veil went up. And then, of course, they became... political.
You said they were theoretical. What did you mean?
Lane and I have been digging. The only research on tangles we could find were thought experiments until the Veil's appearance. As you might expect, that research was done here in the Enclave. Apparently, they did not publish everything they knew.
What did you mean by political?
The surge was specifically catastrophic towards enchanted equipment. Explosions, out-of-control activations, you name it. And tell me, logically, who were the most likely people to have enchanted items on or around them?
The rich and powerful?
Well done. So, in a single moment, you have what seem to be hundreds of assassinations.
And decades of war followed.
As I said, political.
What exactly are tangles?
To our best understanding, magic is more than just energy. As far as we know, raw magic is a physical substance, but normally invisible. Our mantles gather it from the air as we move, but tangles prove it can concentrate on its own. Ultimately, the most practical advice I can give is very simple. Don't stand in the murder cloud.
Hey, Lane. Got any ideas on how I might go about retrieving a key swatch from a frozen village?
I imagine long underwear might help.
Maybe an alchemical solution?
I'm teasing, of course. Drinking a frost shroud vial would do the trick. It makes cold temperatures much easier to withstand. I have some vials already prepared for you. I had the perfect alembic for them thanks to our recent improvements.
Brace for it!
Metal plates with detailed engraving. I wonder if Sola might be interested in these. I think I found a prototype that goes with the helm schematic I gave you.
Yes! These markings in the metal are vents? A signature of the Tarmakine style.
Could we forge the helm now?
Maybe. Give me a sec.
Brynn, do you have a moment?
For my favourite lawkeeper? Absolutely.
I'm the only lawkeeper here, though.
Yes. Doesn't mean you aren't my favourite. So, what do you need?
What was it? Oh, yes. I'm looking to do some experiments with our chemical reagents, and was wondering if you could source me some.
That sounds like something I could help with. What's the experiment?
I won't waste your time with specifics. I just think it'll produce something helpful, if my hypothesis is correct.
Well, my last lawkeeper sent me out all the time for herbs that he'd inevitably just stuff in a pipe and smoke.
Oh. No, that makes sense, then. Yes. Sorry. I think I can help Oria with the Watcher's Wisp.
Oh. After what happened in the Veil's Shadow, any improvement to the scry is worth making.
Exactly. I noticed that she needs a break before guiding you again. The tangles were so bad in the shadow, she couldn't use the wisp at all.
The scry has been better inside the Enclave, but we shouldn't take any chances. What do you need?
There's a plant that only grows here in the Enclave. It expresses a clarifying magical essence. I think I can use it to strengthen Oria's connection with the scry.
That'd be really helpful.
I think so too. Now, am I missing something?
Where can I find the plant?
Oh, right. At night, in the outskirts. They glow, so you won't be able to identify them during the daytime. And I believe they mostly grow in clusters near bodies of water. Not rivers, but ponds, lakes, you know.
Go to the outskirts at night and grab some glowing plants near bodies of water. Got it.
Well, they have a more accurate name than that. I won't overcomplicate it. But they're referred to locally as Diane's Chorus, which refers to a moment in the Enclave's history early on when their second leader, Diane Ramenos, was elected by unanimous vote. She was the right person at the right time for the Enclave and brokered several extremely lucrative trade deals.
The more you talk, the longer you'll wait.
Sorry, yes, please, go. Bring them to me as soon as you can. Thank you.
Why is it so hot?
This can't be natural.
This is exactly what happened to Taza after the surge when all the aeroliths failed. It must be something like that.
The Archon expands. Pre-surge, the Arcs trod this passage daily to transport and farm resources from the outskirts.
hallowed pyre shrine all the way back.
Tarmakind helm is beautiful, Solar. Can't wait to test it out on an expedition.
I am honestly kind of proud of myself right now. I wasn't totally sure I was going to be able to do that. Like I said, this style is a lost art. I know it's just a small piece, but I'm feeling on top of the world right now.
As you should. This is pretty cool.
Before my mentor, Hilda, passed away, and my apprenticeship was cut short, I always saw myself opening up my own smithing school. Specifically to pass on the Tarmakind techniques and prevent them from being lost for good. Feels like another lifetime now. Obviously that dream died with Hilda. It's been like 10 or 15 years since I've even thought of that.
With that helm, you've brought Tarmakind back to life. This dream of yours looks far from dead where I'm standing.
You're not entirely wrong. I guess I just haven't considered having my own smithing school in a long time.
You can do anything you set your mind to, Solar.
You're right. I'm pretty awesome like that.
That's the spirit.
This has all given me a lot to think about.
Years ago, we could travel hundreds of leagues in an instant.
Oh, good. I caught you both.
We are thoroughly caught, love.
I can't stop thinking about the Tarmakind helm we forged, Brynn. I'd written off my early training as a lost cause, but you've sparked my hope.
We'll search high and low, Solar.
To think of it. Traveling the world, sharing knowledge of a lost style of armorcraft.
Yes. I suppose. Oh, I just need to tend to the forge before it cools. Excuse me.
Always so diligent about her forge.
I don't think that was about her forge, Dom.
Oh?
I'm not sure what, but something's bothering her. Just a word to the wise.
Brynn, you are a very good friend. And I know exactly what will lift her spirits. This may prove to be a bit of a challenge, but it's one I know you can handle. I need you to do some harvesting. Pushing your magic into the pattern of a great foe so that you can tear a strand of its power free. This is a critical step for any point. We can only do so much from defeated foes. To push your own mantle requires a harvest.
True. I'm looking forward to this.
Our target will be an Ash Peak Drake. Strands torn from their patterns will allow you to conjure gouts of flame. Delightfully destructive. Like all things our band tackles, it's a team effort. Whenever you pull a strand from a foe, I take that captured magic and weave it into your mantle. As a bonus, there are byproducts that I can use to make Solar a small gift.
Win-win. I get magical powers, you get husband points.
We know they've been flying in the skies above Dredger's Mire. It's just a matter of tracking one down and doing what you do best.
My first Drake harvest.
So, now that I'm done being frigid and unwelcoming,
Ah, you were only lukewarm.
sure. How about an icebreaker to get to know each other better?
Sounds fun. What have you got?
Simple. If you were a wild animal, what would you be?
Easy. Ash Peak Drake.
You fancy yourself majestic enough to inspire legends?
More like I'm fiery and driven.
Fine, I can see that.
And yourself? What animal would you be?
An eastern reef crake.
A crake? Somehow I pictured fewer tentacles and destroyed ships in your wake.
You're thinking of the big ones. An eastern reef crake is pretty small and harmless. But all crakes are misunderstood. They are incredibly intelligent creatures. And they diligently protect their eggs. They actually only attack when their nest is under threat. So yeah, I'd be a crake. Happily living underwater.
The Enclave love their flame magic. Keep moving when facing a fire arbalist, and use your frost to control the temperature. It's quite a thing, being rescued by the scry.
Disorienting. But better than the alternative.
I'll only ever use it when I'm sure it's needed.
It's really nice, having the sensation of you and the others watching over me. You're like the guardian spirits from the stories every Carnhaven child knows. You protect, advise, and of course bicker.
Well, I don't know about spirits, but we'll be your guardians any day.
How come you never hear about scries being used by military? Or to bring nobles home after a night of debauchery?
Rarity and expertise. Scries are Enclave enchantments, and when the veil closed, supplies ceased. On top of that, it takes someone with exceptional control and stamina when channeling magic to use one for any length of time.
Got it. That's why points become watchers. How exactly does it operate?
Similar to a loom gate, but much more focused. I maintain a constant flow of magic into the scry, and it connects to you.
Letting you see the area around me.
In an emergency, I can, I guess yank is the best term, on that connection.
Compared to my last band, I'm glad we actually use the scry.
Not as glad as I am that the loom gates seem to extend its effective range. Just don't take it as a license to be reckless. Risky business flirting with death.
So, Sola explained to me that she can forge new gear with the resources I bring back from expeditions. But did you want to take a cut of my finds before I hand materials over to her?
What? No. Why would I do that?
My last point. Aaron used to take most of what I brought back from my training expeditions.
I'm beginning to suspect he was even worse than I thought. How did you join them in the first place?
When I was 19, Aaron's band came to my town in Carnhaven. We rarely, if ever, got visitors. They had taken a wrong turn in the mountains and wouldn't make the trek out without restocking on supplies.
Of course, Aaron's navigation skills were inadequate.
Yeah. Anyway, our merchants wouldn't sell to his band. Carnhanders were still paranoid about strangers in the wake of the Independence War. So his caravan was stranded for a few days. I took it as an opportunity to learn as much about weaving as I could. Aaron wouldn't give me the time of day, so I began talking with their enchantress, Pelagia, instead. She even began to teach me a bit of magic.
That can't have made you popular in your town.
It didn't. But I knew an opportunity like this wasn't going to come along twice. I cut a deal with Aaron. If I bought the supplies they needed on their behalf, I could leave town with them. Unfortunately, people saw me supplying their caravan. When I went home to pack, I found an angry mob on my parents' doorstep. There was talk that my mother might lose her position as a Dalrad over my actions. When I got inside, she was furious with me. We argued until nearly midnight. My father tried to mediate, but eventually, she stormed off to sleep. I remember just collapsing on my bed after that fight. I was heartbroken to have hurt my parents and sure that the caravan had already left. But under my pillow, I found a mantle and a note from Pelagia telling me where they were headed in the hopes that I might catch up. So I packed. I was almost at the door when I realized my dad was still smoking his pipe by the fire.
Did he try to stop you?
No. He just told me that if I wrote often to tell them I was safe, my mother would forgive me. He was right. She did. Eventually. Then we hugged for a long time. It took everything I had to let go and walk out the door. In a few days, I caught up to Aaron's caravan. My life in Calnhaven disappeared overnight, and suddenly, I was a weaver.
I was born into the world of weaving and magic. But so many like you need to desert their pasts to join it since the Surge. Do you ever regret it?
It might sound cold, but no. I just never fit in Calnhaven. I needed a way out, and I don't think another one would have come. Not that I fit with Aaron's band either, but once I started going on expeditions, I just knew this was what I was meant to be doing.
However rocky, the road did lead you to us in the end.
Exactly. Ever since my last night in Calnhaven, I've just kept my eyes on the horizon.
My mother always said all we can do is learn from the past, not hold on to it. Everything you went through with Aaron will make sense someday. I'm sure there's more of him to tell, but for now, thanks for sharing.
Out in the field, you mentioned you recognize the sudden change in weather.
The same rapid shifts racked Tarza shortly after the Surge. The deserts had been somewhat tamed by enchanted stones, the aeroliths. Each kingdom would boast they had the greatest coverage. Ironically, while the Tarzan nobility were bragging they each had more, the real concentration of them was in Judea. That did not end well.
Let me guess. Something awful happened to them after the Surge.
The enchantments cascaded out of control. One would skew the weather too far, others would react.
Like a pendulum swing, but getting stronger.
Yes, rapid and extreme. Just like what we're seeing here. Thankfully, this means they should be somewhat predictable. The more we learn about each locale, the better we'll be able to predict the changes.
So, keep exploring and wear my warm pants now and then. Can do.
Not as protective, but great against the elements.
You've been busy.
It's a work in progress. Taking stock and all. We lost a lot of gear running for our lives. Speaking of, are you doing okay?
I'm fine. We all got through it safe. And in the process, we did the impossible. We breached the veil of the Enclave. Land of mystery and danger. I can't wait to get out there.
Treasures and glory, huh?
And bards singing our names.
Then I'd best make sure you stay safe enough to tell the tale. Oh, and listen. We've got your back, okay? All of us. Right now, we need to focus on getting our feet back under us. And you need to get the lay of the land while we do. A lot of memories come rushing back when I think about Tarmakind.
Good or bad ones?
Both. I remember the smells. We used very specific woods for the fires when we were alloying. Precise heats and times. And sounds. The guiding tap my mentor would do before every hammer strike. Here. Slower. Faster. Breathe with me. No, foolish girl. Again.
Sounds a little relentless.
No more than the combat drills you and Oria have done. It's all practice. Making your muscles carve a groove so deep the action is automatic, so that your mind is free to focus on the intent.
You miss it?
Not all. I miss the stability of a school. Knowing where your tools are, always. And I miss that crusty old battle axe of a mentor. I had so much to learn from her. Still, maybe this is my chance. Pick up where I left off. We'll see.
I should take up jogging.